Get the Heavenly Realm Healing MP3 at JasonJGallant.ca.
Today I thought it'd be really good to talk about what the spiritual journey really leads to. Okay, because many people, they start on the spiritual journey, and I always talk about this, but they have a list of desires and fears or things that they want to work a certain way about their life, and then they seek that on their spiritual journey. They say, the spiritual path will give me this fruit. I want more money. I want to chant a mantra for money. I want, all these different types of energetic healings, or maybe I want, that relationship, or maybe I want people to respect me, or I want more friendship. That's what I want from my mantra discipline or my meditation discipline. And although these things can happen, one thing I'm going to tell you is that the spiritual journey isn't about making life perfect. Life is going to frustrate you, I guarantee you. It will come in and be so inconvenient. But that doesn't mean you can't love it. It doesn't mean there isn't something there worth loving, worth experiencing, worth letting in. It's kind of like people that have children. Nobody says having children is convenient, right? But the little buggers sometimes, endear you a little bit, and sometimes you like them anyway, even though they cause catastrophes everywhere they go. These little kids, right? So it's the same thing with life. The spiritual journey doesn't hold any guarantees about your life. It doesn't hold any guarantees about how convenient it will be. It doesn't hold any guarantees about how it will prevent such and such event from happening or some horrible sort of circumstance. But what the spiritual journey does do is that it points you to the place that is free from all of that. The place that is beyond the experience of life. The place that is inside you that is free. This experience is with you all the time, no matter how frustrating life is, no matter how much your body might not want to do what you would tell it to do, no matter how much your relationships might not turn out the way you want them to turn out, or your jobs or your career aspirations. Sometimes life just throws you some curveballs. That's just what happens. But the greatest teddy bear you can have in all of this is the experience of your true self. That's the biggest comfort. The biggest comfort you could have through all of life's ups and downs is to find the center of the storm, which is inside you. And that's what all mantra and pranayama and yoga, all of the stuff, it all leads to that, to the realization of a deeper state of that. You sit in it in a deeper way. It becomes your foundation. When the state inside you becomes your foundation, then circumstances in life can happen that are very frustrating, but at least you have your experience of yourself to buffer the ups and downs and drama of life. That's why it's so important not to seek all of your pleasure through life. And what I mean by this, it's important for you not to try to micromanage life and say, okay, when I've finished controlling it, then I will be able to experience happiness, because the happiness is already in you. It has nothing to do with life. Really, what we incarnate into is a place to make us surrender. That's ultimately what life does, doesn't it? Every woman that gives birth knows this, because she has no choice but to surrender to what's coming through. Men, sometimes it gets a little more dramatic for us to surrender. Sometimes other things have to happen. But ultimately, this is the truth of life. One day we all have to let go of control and surrender. And that's what we know as physical death. So when we are avoiding death, we're really avoiding surrender. That's really what we're avoiding. We're avoiding surrendering to what is before us. And surrendering to what is before us is extremely frustrating to the plans of the mind. Because the mind has a lot of plans, a lot of things that it wants to do and accomplish. And a lot of times those things are also in alignment with survival. And therein lies the problem. Here we are trying to survive, but at the same time surrendering. So surrender will grant you the experience inside that will buffer you to the drama of life. And then the other part of you, the mind and the survival, just has to take appropriate action to survive. And life keeps throwing you obstacles and you have to step this way, step that way, deal with those things. But when you're already happy, dealing with those things is not as big of a deal. Do you understand? This is where people get lost. They assume that the internal turmoil that they are in is the turmoil that every human being is in. And I will say to you, each person is dominated by a much different motive. Some are dominated by suffering. Some are dominated by less suffering, and some are not dominated by suffering at all. The very reason why they do things is coming from a much different place. It's that place of freedom. It is my job to show you the path, to show you where more of this freedom can be found. And a hint, it's not found in the mind. It's not found in thinking, it's not found in controlling, and it's not found in fighting or debating. It's found in surrendering. So if you're fighting to find pleasure, what you're doing is defending pain. You're not surrendering to life in that moment. That's what this is all about. The spiritual journey is about finding a deeper level of surrender. And understanding that that is where the joy is. Everything else is drama. Everything else is something to do with survival. But it is not what will nourish your soul. Your soul is nourished by allowing, by surrendering, by resting. So I hope this helps. Blessings and take care for now.